Have you ever felt a deep emptiness that only an animal could fill? Wes Matthew knew this feeling better than anyone. In the vastness of the South African savanna, he found in two white lionesses, Tina and Mona, something akin to a true family bond. Wes raised them since they were cubs, enjoying refreshing hose showers under the scorching sun and calm nights listening to their gentle purring, treating them like his own four-legged daughters. "They're gentle, used to humans," he would say, with a sparkle in his eyes that made everyone believe him. But honestly, can you imagine what happened years later? In just 15 seconds, everything changed completely. Wes's story is the kind that deeply touches us, stirring powerful emotions and raising a critical question: how far can trust between humans and wild animals truly go? Pause for a moment and feel the weight of this. A man who dedicated his entire life to these majestic creatures, believing love could overcome their wild instincts. But what did fate have in store for him? This is a story of courage, love for animals, and a powerful warning that still resonates today. If you're touched by stories blending tenderness and tension, hit that like button and subscribe now, so you don't miss any. Let's dive into the beginning of this tale, at the heart of Lion Treetop Lodge, where everything seemed like a dream. But was it really? Picture a place where the morning sun paints the savanna gold, and the air carries the dry scent of red earth. That was the Lion Treetop Lodge, a sanctuary tucked away in Limpopo, right near South Africa's Kruger National Park. Wes Matthew called this slice of paradise home. He wasn't just a caretaker, he was part of the landscape, walking among lions with the same ease we'd take a dog to the park. Can you believe that? The sanctuary was a haven for big cats rescued from can hunting, a cruel practice where animals are raised in captivity to be easy targets for hunters. Wes, with his confident stride and a smile that could charm anyone, turned the place into a spectacle. Tourists came from all over the world to see him walk side by side with Tina and Mona, the white lionesses who seemed more like daughters than predators. There was something special there. Did you know white lions like Tina and Mona are incredibly rare? They carry a recessive gene that gives them that almost magical color, like something out of a fairy tale. At the lodge, Wes didn't just care for them, he built a bond that seemed to defy logic. He'd spray them with a hose on hot days, laughing as they leaped like oversized kittens. Who hasn't dreamed of a moment like that with an animal, feeling like they really get you? But even in this dreamy setting, there was one detail nobody could ignore: these were lions. Predators. And nature, my friend, doesn't like being underestimated. If you've got a pet, watch how they react to changes around them. Even the sweetest animals have instincts that can catch you off guard. A new noise, a sudden move, pay attention and respect the signs. Pause for a moment and picture it. Wes, in his worn boots, walking with his lionesses while tourists snapped photos and clapped. It was like a show, but with a risk nobody talked about out loud. Did he see what was coming? The hot Limpopo wind carried a faint buzz of insects, and the sound of Wes's steps echoed on the packed dirt trail. He walked with Tina and Mona, the white lionesses, as if the world was pure harmony. But, listen, things weren't as peaceful as they seemed. Back in 2017, 3 years before the tragedy, a worker at the Lion Treetop Lodge was attacked by one of the lionesses in the same enclosure where Wes strolled. The guy survived, but he carried scars that told a story nobody wanted to hear. Animal welfare groups issued stern warnings: lions never stop being predators, no matter how much you love them. Wes, with that confidence that made everyone believe in him, just shrugged. "My girls are different," he'd say, with a stubborn glint in his eyes. Ever met someone like that, who ignores a warning because they think love fixes everything? Here's a fact that makes you think: even lions raised in captivity keep 90% of their wild instincts, according to animal behavior studies. Wes knew this, but he seemed convinced Tina and Mona were the exception. He kept up his daily walks, guiding tourists, posing for photos, while the lionesses followed like majestic shadows. But shadows, my friend, sometimes hide dangers. The warnings weren't just hot air, they were like distant thunder, the kind you hear but think the storm will never hit. And Wes? He kept going, sure that their wild instincts could be tamed by love. Trust the signs life gives you. Whether it's with an animal or a situation, notice when something feels off. It might be the universe giving you a nudge. Close your eyes for a second and feel the weight of this. Wes, walking with his lionesses, while the world screamed for him to stop. But what happens when trust blinds someone? The answer came fast, and it wasn't pretty. The dawn of August 26, 2020, was like any other at the Lion Treetop Lodge. The sky glowed orange, and the fresh scent of dew mixed with the heat rising from the savannah. Wes Matthew, in his dusty boots, led Tina and Mona on a morning walk, just like always. His wife, Gil, followed in a car a few yards back, the engine humming softly, while tourists might have been dreaming of catching a glimpse. But in 15 seconds, Wes's world collapsed. The lionesses he'd raised as daughters turned on him. A roar sliced through the air, followed by an attack so swift Gil could only scream. Tina and Mona, with their fangs and claws, struck Wes with a fury no one could have predicted. He fell, blood staining the dry earth. Gil tried, but there was nothing she could do. Wes died there, under the helpless gaze of the woman he loved. Ever felt that shock of seeing something impossible happen? Here's a chilling fact: even lions raised by humans can be triggered by subtle cues, a quick move, a sound, or an instinct that wakes out of nowhere. That day, no one knows what changed in Tina and Mona. Maybe a bird flew too low, or a strange scent rode the breeze. What's clear is that their wild instincts spoke louder than years of companionship. The tragedy shook everyone at the sanctuary, and the news spread like wildfire. Wes, the man who believed in man-animal harmony, became a victim of his own trust. Pause for a moment and imagine Gil's pain, watching the love of her life taken in seconds. How does anyone recover from that? Never underestimate the unpredictable, whether with animals or in life. Always have a plan B, like an escape route or someone nearby in risky situations. Take a deep breath and feel the weight of this. Wes was gone, but the story doesn't end there. What made Tina and Mona attack? And what does this teach us about nature? The silence after the attack was heavy, as if the savannah itself held its breath. The metallic scent of blood still lingered in the air at the Lion Treetop Lodge, while everyone tried to make sense of what happened. Why did Tina and Mona, the white lionesses Wes treated like daughters, turn on him? Experts offered theories. Some said the lionesses, at 5 years old, were hitting sexual maturity, a time when their predatory instincts sharpen. Others blamed the stress of captivity. Even in a sanctuary, lions aren't meant to be confined. Some thought a simple move by Wes, maybe a step too fast, sparked their wild side. Here's the crazy part: studies show lions in captivity can attack without warning, even after years of peaceful coexistence, because their instincts never truly sleep. Can you imagine how that hit the people who knew Wes? Wes's family made a tough call. Tina and Mona were euthanized. Not out of revenge, but for safety. After all, if they attacked once, who could guarantee it wouldn't happen again? The choice broke hearts, but it also opened a bigger wound. Where's the line between loving animals and the ethical risks of keeping them captive? Wes believed in man-animal harmony, but the tragedy showed that nature plays by its own rules. Ever thought you could control something bigger than yourself, only to realize you can't? The pain of Gil and the sanctuary's team carried a question. Did Wes see in the lionesses what he wanted to see, not what they truly were? Before making a big decision, stop and weigh the risks carefully. Sometimes the heart wants to believe, but reason needs the final say. Close your eyes for a moment and feel this. Wes's loss wasn't just personal, it was a wake-up call that echoed worldwide. What did this moment change about how we see wild animals? The news of Wes Matthew's death flew faster than a hawk across the savannah, carrying the echo of his tragedy beyond South Africa's borders. The muffled sound of journalists' keyboards spread the story. A man who loved his white lionesses, Tina and Mona, was betrayed by them in seconds. Social media exploded, headlines screamed, and the Lion Treetop Lodge, once a symbol of man-animal harmony, became the stage for a heated debate. Animal welfare groups like PETA pointed fingers. Raising wild predators for tourism is a fine line between conservation and entertainment. Ever stop to think about what separates saving an animal from exploiting it? Wes's story, with his blind trust and undeniable love, shone a light on that uncomfortable question. Here's a shocking fact. In South Africa, around 7,000 lions live in captivity, many in farms for can hunting or tourist attractions, according to 2020 reports. Wes's case lit a global warning. Activists called for tougher laws against private breeders, while others argued sanctuaries like Wes's were the only hope for rescued animals. Social media split. Some saw Wes as a hero who lived his dream, others as someone who romanticized taming predators. The tragedy in South Africa wasn't just a personal loss, it forced the world to question the ethical risks of captivity and tourism with wild animals. And, look, it's not just in the savannah that these questions hit home. Ever visited a zoo and wondered if those animals were truly happy? Before supporting attractions with animals, research how they're treated. Choose ethical sanctuaries that prioritize well-being over profit. Pause for a second and reflect. Wes's story changed something in the world, but did it change enough? What's left of this moment that shook so many? The sun didn't shine as brightly at the Lion Treetop Lodge after August 26, 2020. The scent of dry grass still lingered, but the silence in the sanctuary seemed to roar louder than any lion. Wes Matthew lived for a dream, believing love could erase the line between man and predator. He saw Tina and Mona, his white lionesses, as family, and who could blame him? The way he laughed while hosing them down or talked about them like daughters warmed everyone's hearts. But, my friend, nature doesn't read our scripts. Wes's trust, as pure as it was risky, was both his legacy and his downfall. Ever believed in something so much you ignored the warning signs? Here's a fact that makes you think. Lions, even raised by humans, have brains wired by millions of years of evolution to hunt and survive. Wes's love was real, but it couldn't rewrite their wild instincts. His story is a powerful warning. Romanticizing wild animals can come at a steep cost. The tragedy in South Africa isn't just about Wes, Tina, and Mona, it's about the delicate balance between loving animals and respecting their essence. So, what's left? A call to look more closely at the animals we love, whether they're lions or the dogs sleeping at the foot of your bed. The lesson is clear: respect nature, because it always has the final word. Love your animals, but never forget who they are. Study their behaviors and set clear boundaries to keep everyone safe. Pause for a moment and feel the weight of this. Wes lived for an ideal, but paid the ultimate price. And you, have you ever had an animal that changed your life? Share it with us in the comments. If this story touched you, the next video YouTube suggests will move you even more. Don't miss it.